Hello, my favorites. How are you doing today? I am really great. I get to discuss with you one of the most important parts of marketing and something I'm very, very passionate about. I have been working in branding for over 30 years as a corporate employee, a small business employee, an entrepreneur, a professor, and it's probably one of the things I am most passionate about is brand identity. And I think it is because branding really has a lot to do with strategy. I think a lot of people think branding is about colors and pictures and words and the fluffy stuff of marketing, but it really is about building a story for your company. And that's why it is so important to do this and get it right. So, what is a brand? An organization's promise to a customer to deliver a functional, emotional, self-expressive, and social benefits by David Aaker, one of the branding pioneers. So branding is far more than just a trademark or a logo or a word. It is really the essence of who your organization is, and it needs to be represented in every decision that you make. So when you think about where does the brand fit into the entire marketing strategy, I will say that it really fits around everything that we do. It encompasses or wraps around the entire strategic marketing, your company, your how you relate to competitors, your position with customers, partnerships, climate context, your target audiences, how your value proposition comes about, and not until then the marketing mix. It really wraps around the entirety of your company. And so because of this, branding is generally completed at the very top level of the organizations. So you're not going to pass this down to an entry-level marketing person or just hire somebody that has very little skill or experience in this area, because the importance of a brand sets the stage for who you are as a company. It is going to be your values, your mission, your roadmap of who you are at the essence. So getting it right and understanding those things will help you over and over again, not only in just how you communicate to the market, but the decisions that you make as you build your products and services and take care of your customers and your employees. So the importance of a brand is that it gets you recognition, it increases your value of your company, it generates new customers, it gives pride and excitement to your employees, those who want to work for you. It creates trust in the marketplace, so it has a lot to do with your stock price. And branding supports promotion. It isn't just promotion, it supports promotion. So some of the most valuable brands in the world are displayed here. And what I want you to understand is that the value of a brand is an intangible asset. It only lands on a financial statement when somebody is trying to evaluate a company. So it's important to know that building the brand is going to impact not only the perception of your organization, but maybe even the equity that your organization has. So if you take a step back and look at what a brand identity is, the brand identity is the face of your brand to the world. How it looks, how it feels, how you communicate. It is the visual interpretation of bringing your brand values to life. It evokes an emotional appeal. When I see a brand, I get a feeling. It's like a human being. And it's more than a trademark. It's more than a name. It's more than a logo. So as you look at different brands and how they communicate their value to the world, you can have an identity to be able to communicate what those values are. So we start out with a concept called branding values. And I start here because it is important for everyone in an organization, particularly those creating a brand, that you understand the values of your company. And the values of your company will impact your brand decisions that you may make throughout the life of a product or the life of the service or the company in general. And so I encourage those students I work with, the clients I work with in my consulting business, to take the time to create the values. What are your beliefs? And so I have a few examples here. Starbucks has created a number of different values, from being a culture of warmth and belonging where everyone is welcome, acting with courage, challenging the status quo, finding new ways to grow as a company, being present, connecting with transparency, dignity, respect, performance driven through the lens of humanity. So if you think about those values as a company and you translate it into a brand, the brand should really reflect your beliefs. You have companies like Lululemon who are so embodied by their brand or their values, their core values, that they will put it on their bags, in their stores. They have a manifesto of friends are more important than money, love, breathe deeply, a number of different values. So you can go to any website, go to Nike, go to Apple, go to Starbucks, whatever your favorite brand is, and type in Google Nike brand values. They are going to tell you a story about who they are and the values that they prescribe to. And anything that they do in terms of their company decisions, product decisions, employee decisions, customer decisions, should reflect back to those values. And what you see in a look and a feel and identity of a brand should align to those core values. So let's think about, how do you translate those values into a brand identity? And a brand identity is the visual elements such as colors, design, logos, name, symbol, together, key messages in the visual elements of a brand. And these visual elements, as I mentioned, have to go back to the values and the personality of the brand. So oftentimes companies will create a brand toolkit, an identity, a guide. It will often live on their website. And this is to show the world, or to show the designers or the employees or whoever's working with the brand what that identity needs to look and feel like. Because it's really important that you have a consistent look and feel and messaging and positioning based on those values of the brand. So you, in this course, will be creating a brand identity toolkit. Now let's talk about personality. This is where, after I know what a company's values are, then I steer the company into what is the personality that you want to portray. Sometimes you can get that feeling by just reading through the values. Other times we look at doing some academic exercises. So the brand personality is a set of human characteristics associated with a brand. And why do we do this? Because we as human beings look at brands as if they are people. Why do you think people get upset with certain brands? They get upset with certain brands when they take actions that don't align with their own value system, right? So when we're thinking of a brand and we're thinking of those we like and those we dislike and those who are like, whatever, it's because perhaps the values of that brand or that company don't align with your own personal opinions. So you may just choose to do business or not do business, or buy a product or not, and have a service encounter with a brand because of their values. That's because we see brands as people. So brand person as people, what do? We have attributes and personality and characteristics of our individual personalities. So building a good brand personality based on your values differentiates you from your competition. So if you were a brand or a person, how would you describe him or her? So look at the Apple logo here and you ask the question, in 5 adjectives, how would you describe Apple as a person? So you're going to come up with a number of different attributes, such as maybe you say innovative, technology focused, creative, pushing the envelope, consistent, trustworthy. Those are all the types of things you would say if you're in a relationship with someone, right? So there's a brand personality construct that Aaker developed called the brand personality. And Aaker posited that there were 5 distinct categories of personality that different brands would fit into, whether they're sincere, excitement, competence, sophisticated, ruggedness. Now this is transformed over time, but the same concept really is you need to develop a personality for your brand because that is really going to drive how you create your identity in the marketplace. So let's look at brand personality here. You might take those 5 attributes from Aaker and think of brands that align to them. Maybe a sincere brand might be Hallmark or Disney. Excitement, Coca-Cola, Nike, Red Bull, Tesla. Competence, Google, Microsoft, Intel, Volvo. Sophistication, Gucci, Rolex, Tiffany, Apple. Ruggedness, Jeep, Marlboro, Timberland. So as you think about the personalities of a brand, you can think about putting it into some sort of typology that we have here and think about how these brands really resonate with a personality. Maybe, Harley Davidson. If you think of Harley Davidson, you might think of the macho brand, the freedom-seeking, Americana, Amazon, fast, reliable, competent, Prime, getting things done for people quickly, supply chain, Red Bull. When you think about Red Bull, excitement, the extreme sports, taking risks. So when you look at these brands that have been built over time based on a personality, you really have an idea of what they value. So there's a number of different ways that you can put your brands into archetypes and different personalities. But what I want you to think about is answering the question, what would so-and-so do, Apple, if he or she were human? Or what are the adjectives that best describe your brand in 5 words? So this is the reason why this is so important is it's going to help you define what are those color schemes you're going to use in terms of a personality. What is the font typography? What imagery will you use to express your personality? What will your logo look like? This is what we call the voice. How are you going to speak to the public? What will the copy sound like? And will you be fun and flirty? Will you be adventurous? Will you be conservative, worldly? All of these things are important because they describe a voice. And the reason it's important is because what you say and how you say it matters. Just like a person. The brand is like a person. How you say it matters. It also gives you the ability to provide direction to the creative people working on representing your brand identity. So think about this really important 5 adjectives that you would use to describe your brand. And that is exactly what we call a personality or a voice. It could be proud, fierce, persistent, daring. How would you describe Nike in terms of a personality? Spirited, sporty, consumer related, maybe reverent, a lifestyle. But these types of words are really going to help you build out your brand identity. And each brand should have a set of attributes in their brand identity guide so that they can be able to describe their brand as a person. So when you're looking at a brand identity toolkit, you will find these adjectives in the brand identity guide for the company that you're working with. And I suggest that this is one of the first things that you do before you think of colors, before you think of your logo, typography, imagery, because your personality for your brand should align to everything that else you do moving forward. So that's a brief introduction to the theory behind brand personality and building out a brand identity, how important it is for you to understand the values of your company, developing out that personality so that when you build a brand identity and that guide, you know that each one of those elements align to that overall image that you want people to understand. So remember, brands are like people. People have personality. Brands have personality. You like them, you don't like them. They have particular values and they have particular attributes. But keeping that personality consistent over time based on the values of the organization is going to help you win every time. Take care.